Back in the 2000s, Boosie was one of the first artists to come out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. At only 17 years old, Boosie made his introduction to the world on CeeLo's album, Camp 3, on the song titled, Outlaws. He gained an instant buzz, and with his unique flow and vocals, he dropped his first solo project titled Youngest of the Camp in August of 2000. And in 2001, the Jig era started, and Baton Rouge started to see more rappers emerge. After facing legal troubles around this time, Boosie would go to jail and found out by his mother, a rapper by the name of Pimp C, was looking to sign him to his up-and-coming label, Trail ENT. Boosie would be released early from jail and drop his second CD titled For My Thugs in 2002. This will be Boosie's first project on Trail ENT.
Hey, this is Boosie. I'm in the studio with South Coast Coalition. If you don't know about me, I'm a bad man. I put it down.
In 2003, Boosie was still on his grind, earning his respect in the streets. And on July 22nd, Pimp C presents Ghetto Stories, starring Lil Boosie and Webbie. You see, when this album dropped, it set the streets of BR on fire and all the surrounding regions. Pimp C was incarcerated during this time, serving an 8-year sentence for violating his probation. Boosie already had the streets of BR on lock, and what this album proved is that Webbie could hold his own, and it was his reintroduction after being featured on Boosie's previous album. Less than a year later, Boosie and Webbie dropped again, and on May 25th, 2004, Gangsta Music was released. This album came with a DVD as well, and took you into the lives of Boosie and Webbie. After the success of Gangsta Music, Boosie and Webbie signed a record deal with Warner Brothers in 2005. On a Sunday morning, April 3rd, 2005, a uniformed patrol officer was northbound on Sherwood Forest when he noticed the car crashed. He turned around to investigate the accident, and what he found was no accident. Inside the car was 25-year-old Ivy Smith, 26-year-old Kevin Henderson, and 23-year-old Joshua Thomas. They all had been shot. Police say it appears someone pulled up alongside their car and opened fire. They believe the shooting was a result of an altercation and club shenanigans earlier that evening. During this time, Boosie was going through it. From family and friends dying, to a lean addiction, to people burning his CDs. But through it all, he still kept dropping music. This would be the year that Lil Boosie turned into Boosie Badazz. Boosie would travel to Shreveport and hook up with the Lava House. And from then on, they would make music that would define Louisiana forever. Released in 2005, United We Stand, Divided We Fall dropped. And with Do the Ratchet being the first single off this album, and the jig movement going on, the landscape of Louisiana changed. During Boosie's time with the Lava House, he still expressed the pain he was going through with the loss of Ivy, Ace, and Josh.
I just lost 3 niggas in a homicide. 4 or 5 mamas crying, everybody slinging iron.
But back in BR, the streets were talking. And the rumor was, an OG by the name of Nussie had murdered Boosie's homeboy. You see, Nussie, he was well known in the streets of BR, and his name rang bells. He owned houses, a car wash, and a club, not to mention numerous cars. And then his past had a well-known reputation for slinging iron and drugs. He was an OG under that old law, and not to be played with.
He mad at me now. He won't do me something, but he know he come over here, I'ma shoot his ass down like a rocket man.
During this time, Boosie was getting ready to drop his highly anticipated album, Badazz, which would have been his first album on a major label. This album was leaked, so Boosie went back in the studio to recreate this album. Nussie was still in the streets, and by his feelings being hurt about people blaming the murders on him, he went in the studio and dropped a mixtape of his own called The Streets Can Vouch For Me.
I know you miss your dogs, but I ain't kill them.
Things were starting to heat up, and in 2006, Boosie finally dropped his highly anticipated album, Badazz. Now that Nussie was being recognized as a recording artist, and his name had been cleared of the murders, he went in the studio and dropped his version of Badazz. Boosie was not happy with this, and it was rumored that he snatched one of Nussie's signs down promoting the album. Nussie heard about this, and a short time later, got info that Boosie was on the same flight to Louisiana as one of his friends. He thought this would be the perfect time to catch him by himself, to clear up any confusion.
He told me he didn't do it. I told him, well, shit, ain't no beef, you know.
After this was cleared up, Nussie continued to do music. helping local artists all around Baton Rouge. He also played in several movies as well. And in 2007, Boosie continued to drop mixtapes as well. When 2008 hit, Boosie was putting together his own clique so he could start his own record label. On October 22nd, 2008, Boosie was arrested after East Baton Rouge Sheriff's deputies found marijuana and a Glock in his car. He was put on house arrest a year before his sentencing. And while on house arrest, he recorded a lot of music because he knew when he got sentenced, he would be gone for some years, and he wanted his family to be straight. Boosie also hooked up with BG while he was on house arrest to record the mixtape 225 to the 504. During this time, Boosie and BG locked in for over a month completing this mixtape, and BG stayed in Baton Rouge the whole time. Boosie and BG had a solid relationship, and they clubbed together, and Boosie's mom, Miss Connie, cooked the food. After this, BG would go to prison himself and be sentenced to 14 years.
That nigga left 2 months after me. That nigga left 2.5, that nigga left January 9th. I left February 9th.
Marlo Mike was like Boosie's son. He was even his legal guardian. But in 2009, Marlo Mike went on a 14-month spree, getting rid of all Boosie's enemies, starting with Nussie. Nussie was 33 years old, and he was struck inside his home on American Street on February 9, 2009. Marlo admitted to capping Nussie through a high window while standing on Ghost's shoulder. The next victim was Marcus Gangster Thomas, and on April 25, 2009, Marcus Gangster Thomas was struck in his vehicle while driving down the 600 block of McKinley Street. Marlo Mike, Ghost, and Jarrell Williams pulled up on Gangster's SUV, and it was rumored that he snatched the chain from Boosie in front of his daughter and he wanted them X'd out. And on October 21st, 2009, Boosie's brother-in-law Terry Bard was capped inside his home. It was said that Lee Lucas sent a letter to Boosie from jail and said Terry Bard was go jack him and slap him when he was released. Adrian Pittman drove Marlo Mike and Ghost to Stevendale driving. The Baton Rouge murder rate was sky high. And just before 2009 was over, this happened. On December 18, 2009, Michael Smith was found capped to death behind a residence in the 1700 block of Wisteria Street. According to Baton Rouge Police Department, dispatchers received multiple calls from people regarding several individuals with guns running in the South 15th and 16th Street area around 4:20 p.m. Smith and this boy started shooting at Marlo, and Marlo shot back, striking Smith. On January 1st, 2010, Marlo Mike and Ghost got into a heated argument, and allegedly Marlo Mike got frustrated and got tired of being played out of money every time him and Ghost did a hit. On April 1st, 2010, Charles Nookie Matthews and Darryl Bleak Milton were capped inside of a car. According to his statement, Marlo Mike hired 3 friends and drove them to the location to carry out the hit. They approached the black Cadillac they were sitting in, and Bleak was Boosie's right-hand man, and Marlo Mike felt bad. He went to his funeral and he spent time with the family after the murder. If you enjoy the content, like the video and subscribe to the channel. Say that TV, baby.